That's the deal.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Wadada Leo Smith, welcome to the Jazz Podcast. Thanks for joining us.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
It is our pleasure. When I saw that you had these albums out today, I leapt at the chance. I've been a big fan of your music for a long time. And so to get to sit and chat to you is wonderful. So how are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I came in from New York this morning because I was in town from Sunday until today, last Sunday until today. So yeah, I'm ready. I'm in good shape, ready to keep moving.
Yeah, of course. How's New York at the moment?
Well, it's got a lot of people in it and a lot of noise, some events and stuff, you know. It's, I guess you'd call it an intense, exciting place, at least for a few days, yeah.
You're glad to leave when it's over?
Oh, I'm always glad to leave. The only place I like is my house.
Yeah.
Nowhere else, you know.
Oh yeah, I know that feeling.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your music then. You've got out today on the TUM label.
Yeah, Tomb.
2 box sets. And so should we start? I've just played a bit of your first string quartet for our listeners. Okay. Let's start with let's start even. Could you just tell our listeners who you are? Tell us a bit about yourself.
You mean like my life? No.
Anything. Life.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if I had to define or talk about who I am or what I am or what I do, I would simply say that I'm a creative artist. And I use the word artist because I use inspiration to make my work. And such terms like musician and performers, although they help some people to identify with what's happening, they're not areas that I'm interested in thinking about myself as. I'm also, like a composer. I prefer a creative music composer performer. Primarily because everything that takes place in my music and all those colleagues I'm associated with, like, for example, Anthony Braxton, Henry Threadgill, and so on, everything that our music is connected with, we bring something to it that has to be clearly defined as creative. And I know that we all think of this idea that if an inspiration or one is inspired, then we can say that work is authentic. And so I like to think that I'm in that category, and such as my colleagues are as well. I'm a father. I have 2 daughters. I have 4 grandkids. A young man by the name of Lamar. He's 26, 27, or maybe 28.
Oh, wow.
He just had a birthday a few days ago.
Fantastic.
He plays the electric guitar. And my granddaughters, one is thinking of going into some kind of criminal work. She wants to deal with stuff like that. She just got out of college, and I guess she have to do some more college. And I have 2 younger ones. One that's 12 and one that's 9.
Oh,
one
wonderful.
12 plays the piano and also basketball. She's very good. And the one that's 9 writes poetry, and really some of the best poetry I've ever heard in my life. And she also, she's a soccer player, a football player.
Great.
She's a goalie.
Oh, my favorite. Brilliant.
So those are the categories that I would define myself as. As one other thing, I think that I say to anybody who asks me what I'm doing, I'm an organic loner. I don't hang out. I don't socialize. I'm not into that. I don't do a lot of telephone calls. I'm an organic loner. What that means is I'm a person that loves being alone because I love working. I work every day. I don't have vacations. I don't have weekends. My joy is rooted in that practice of working.
So tell me a bit about Lamar, your grandson. Does he ever listen to your music? Does he ask you about it, or does he kind of go his own way? It must be I'm curious what it's like, having other musicians, different generation in the family.
Well, he was introduced to the public when he was 13, 12 or 13. Okay. And I introduced him here in New Haven at the Firehouse because I was recording Spiritual Dimension at the time, and I had fixed up one little piece for him to play on, and he came up and did that, and I said, "Okay, Lamar, you can leave stage if you want to," and he says, "Well, I'd like to stay." I said, "Okay, stay." So he's on Spiritual Dimension at the age of 13. Okay.
Wow.
He's also on the electric music one, Najwa. He's on that, and he's also on a new one that I'm hoping to get out, at least a digital form of it, somewhere in the early spring, with Bill Laswell, Fiona Love, Brandon Ross, Nels Klein, uh, uh, Marcus Gilmore, Cyril Courvoisier, a lot of people.
Yeah.
He's also on that.
Oh, fantastic.
And when he was younger, he asked me more about music, but when you move into those zones of late teens and 20s, you kind of move away. Okay. But what he does now is he plays, he has a band, he plays around town here, and he plays with other people. And I use him from time to time. Yeah.
Fantastic. That's brilliant. So let's talk about the string quartets then.
Yes.
Which there are 12 string quartets in the box set.
Yeah.
When did you start composing the first one?
1963, 73. There's lots of sketches of the first string quartet.
Right.
And
okay.
particularly the first movement. There's lots and lots of sketches of it, and it makes sense. My goal was never to go to school because I didn't ask anybody if I could be a composer. I didn't ask anybody if I should do this or do that. I found my own way. I found out how to make an instrument sound in its best range and how to make the figures make it sound beautiful. And so the same thing with the first string quartet. When I started writing it, my goal was to write it until I learned how to write it. And therefore, like I said, there are lots of sketches. String quartet number one has 3, 4 editions of it. What we have on record is only the latest edition. Okay. There's 2 other whole editions that have never been recorded. And they will be one day, hopefully. But what I'm saying is that the first string quartet, I didn't move from it until I learned how to write string quartet music.
Yeah. What was it about the string quartet that drew you to want to compose for them?
Well, if you come up in the Delta of Mississippi, as I did, okay, the most prominent sound you hear is a string sound, and it's a string sound of electric guitar. And all of mine's violins and violas and cellos, and they have that. That's the sound that I heard as growing up. Muddy Waters, Little Milton, B.B. King, Elmore James, all Muddy Waters, all those guys, Albert King, these people I heard on a regular basis and live, not on record, live. Okay.
Yeah.
And then I traveled with electric guitars. My stepfather was electric guitars. You see, that's why I got he was my first teacher.
Okay. Yeah.
And So, you know, I traveled with Little Milton's band, playing in his band. Uh, Everybody know him for singing, you know,
Yeah.
but really he was a magnificent guitarist, magnificent. Played any kind of stuff,
Yeah.
you say. And the same with B.B. King. I never played with him, but I had the occasion to be with him and watch him and stuff like that, because he was friend, like Milton was friend of my father. In fact, Milton's first few lessons came from my stepfather. Okay, so all these people I knew,
Yeah.
they would come to my house and they'd come to see my stepfather. But the next thing that they wanted was my mother's pound cake. It's called a buttered pound cake, and it's a
Yeah.
Southern dish. I mean, it's a Southern cuisine that people, everybody wants it, but everybody can't make it because they don't know the right, portion of butter and sugar and
Yeah.
how many hand beats, not a machine beat, how many hand beats you have to do it.
So is this passed down the family, this recipe?
Well, it passed down, but nobody's been able to duplicate that taste.
Oh, wow.
No, my mother's been gone, and after that, it went with her.
Yeah.
You know, anybody can make a pound cake, but not a butter pound cake.
No. Oh, that's very special.
Yeah, yeah.
So how did you
my
find?
mother was a master cook, so that's the other reason.
Yeah.
So those guys, when they would come to my house, they would all sit and eat and drink whiskey and have a good time. You know.
Sounds fantastic. So just tell me about how you sort of discovered the trumpet then. When did you start playing?
Okay, the trumpet was given to me. Not the instrument, but in the school training program of music, I had gotten an instrument that I didn't really like, which was the mellophone. Okay, and my friend Henry had got the trumpet. I don't know whether he liked it or not, you know. But one day my band director instructed, when he opened the door to both rooms, and he says, "You go over there and you go over there." And so Henry came into the room where the mellophone was. I went into Henry's room where the trumpet was. And that's how I got the trumpet. I didn't decide for the trumpet. The trumpet was decided by somebody else for me.
Wow.
And being a person of spiritual belief, I believe that it was a pure act of generosity from the Creator.
Yeah.
You say. And the trumpet, I've never had a problem with it, meaning it's never been difficult for me to play. And it is the right instrument after 68 or 70 years of playing it.
That's fantastic.
Actually more, because I'm 80. So if I started when I'm 12, what is that? That's
68?
No. Well, 6, 8, 7. Yeah, that's 6, 8 years. Yeah. I've been playing 6, 8 years, so it's part of me.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. I completely, I've been playing my instruments sort of over half my life, but I can't imagine, you can't imagine, even my brain would not be the same, you know, without them. I'd be a completely different person.
Yes. Yeah, and it would too.
Yeah.
It'd be a completely different instrument. Not in terms of guitar to a drum, but you see, everything we touch, we leave an imprint on it. And everything that touches us leave their imprint on us.
Yeah.
So if when you play an instrument for several years, it's completely implanted in you and you in it.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I agree. And my how old is your trumpet?
Well, the one that I have now, I think is probably I bought it in the 70s, the late 70s maybe. In fact, I bought it in Japan because the trumpet I had on my way over there was it was a Betson, or similar to the Betson. I bought it in Paris. It got damaged and I couldn't play it. The valves would not move. So I bought a trumpet there, and the trumpet I have now is a Yamaha. It was one that the Japanese made that they didn't export.
Oh, nice.
It was a beautiful horn, and I have never had any occasion to change it. So let's say from the late 70s or early 80s, that horn. So it's probably 40 years old now, 50 years old.
Oh, that's wonderful. I like that feeling. My saxophones are quite old. And when I
Mm-hmm.
play them, I think a lot about how much air has gone through them, how much kind of
Mm-hmm.
character they have. And usually if there's something that I can't do, I just blame myself. I'm never like looking at a different sax. I'm like, this is my fault. So let's go back to your string quartets. You were saying about how you stayed with string quartet number 1 until you felt like you knew how to write for strings.
Yes.
So then did you feel like it was the time to put that onto a second quartet? It's just, you've
They
written
all
these.
they all come from inspiration. Once the inspiration pops in, uh, you see, inspiration just doesn't pop in and it's neutral. It's it's just something that's there. It pops in specifically for what's needed at that moment. And every single piece of mine has two qualities: inspiration and research. Okay, the inspiration is the moment of inception of the idea. And I don't mean just literally the idea to do it, but what it is that needs to be there, the music itself. And that's inspired. And then the next thing is I have to find out what that music is for, how it's to be used. And I need to research whatever categories that it's going to be constructed in and related to.
So when you have an idea, would you necessarily know it was going to be for a string quartet, or would you just have the idea and kind of feel later on?
It comes for string quartet.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. All of them come distinguished for either that ensemble, this ensemble.
Right.
So, yeah.
So you've got the 12 being released today, the box set.
Yeah.
How does it feel having recorded something, some of which you wrote a long time ago and some of which are much more, like, when's the most recent of the 12 compositions written?
Let me see, maybe I can tell you from here. Number 11 is 2019.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Number 12 is 2016 to 2018.
Yeah.
You see, so those are the ones that's happening, And number 11 ranges from 1975 through 2019. You see.
So that's been like updated and
not
edited.
Updated. No, those sections started to appear. Like number 11 is 9 movements.
Yes.
Okay. And it's an hour and 40-some minutes long.
Yeah.
Okay. It has the widest range of musical language in it than any piece that I've ever done. It seeks to have the organizational base around language as opposed to being based around pitches and form and micro cells of sound. It's not based off of it. It's based off a much larger, wider realm of possibilities, and therefore its uses of language. There's music written on the 5-line staff, and it's all non-metrical. It's proportional. Okay. So it has none of that kind of counting. And the figures themselves are not based off of metricality. They're based off of proportions. That is a long in relationship to short. And that's it, okay? But that stuff is written on like regular manuscript paper, okay? That's one form of language. The other one is where there's simply a blank sheet of paper, and I draw or create the staff that is going to be on and construct material on that. That's a different kind of language because none of it is pitch oriented. You see,
yeah,
it's form and structure and event oriented.
Right.
And then there's the approximation language, which is a vast range of kinds of language. Like the one for Evan Singleton is and Louis Armstrong, their uses of the approximation language is similar. Okay, to give you an example of what I mean, these staff or the music tower that I've created to put the material on, all of those lines and spaces are colored. Okay, and then the materials put on there is also colored. Okay, but that's similar to Louis Armstrong piece, and that's similar to Alvin Singleton. Those two are similar. Okay, then there's the ones where I have the music staff, but also approximation built into the music staff. And then there are those that with the approximation that are completely different from that one, where it shapes like you see that one right in the back in the corner there.
Yes.
To my over this shoulder.
Yeah.
Like that, you see.
Yeah.
That's one of the 4 symphonies. This is the B series, which is 40 some inches by 36. So it's pretty huge.
Pretty
like
big,
that.
yeah.
So that's the approximation has 3 or 4 different levels or notion of language inside of them, and I just articulated 3 of them for you. So if you look at the blank page, the material, and the 3 that's already 5 different languages in one piece.
Yeah.
And so the unifying principle is evolving musical languages, not evolving musical material. You see?
Yeah.
So if I would say how to look at it, you should look at it as having several layers arcing across it, but that its ultimate meaning has to be consistent with realizing an appreciation for the fact that it has a vast range of languages.
Yeah.
You know,
so
like in Beethoven, they would appreciate the fact that it's got beautiful harmony and melody.
Yes.
This is way over, not better, but way over that idea. This is the idea about just languages being able to make the balancing force in a work of art.
So you say about I wanted to ask you about the blank sheet of paper, let's say, technique. Yeah. A lot of those scores have become like in art galleries, and they've been hung up, as like a visual art as well as a musical art. How do you feel about your scores being used that way?
Well, my scores have been shown in Poland. They've been shown in major museums in the United States. The Hammond Museum in LA is a quite famous museum. The Renaissance Society in Chicago is just as famous. The Kalamazoo Art Museum is also just as famous. And the Polish one, I would have to find the name of it. But also right now, I have an exhibit that's taking place at the Clemente Gallery in New York City. Last night was the opening of it. You see,
fantastic.
I have 17 works there.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
That's so you're quite happy, I assume, for these works to be shown in that context.
But let me tell you how I define them. They are approximation, symbolic, art scores. And I place the word art scores on them because it's also work of art, but also it's a score.
Yeah.
And for it to be properly realized and appreciated, it has to be understood that is music.
Yeah.
You see?
Yeah.
And in relationship to paintings, a painting is not a musical score. Okay. But an approximation is not a painting.
Yeah.
You see? But it is an art score. That is, it is art and music.
Yeah.
And so the definition means that to have the pure realization of what that particular score look like, feel like, and is, has to be performed.
Yeah.
A painting does not have to be performed. because none of them make a painting to be performed. Not even the Dutch guy that wrote all those several pieces about music. They're about music, but not about performance.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, they are, because I know them.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I tell you, I do the research. I know them. I've seen them.
Yeah.
They are about music, but they're not music. Mine is not about music. It is music. And the other thing is none of my scores are graphic scores, you see.
Yeah.
My scores are what I call them symbolic art scores.
Yeah.
And I make that distinction because a graphic score has no rules of engagement, none. And a language score, just like the spoken language, has rules of engagement.
Yeah.
Okay? And performance in its best context has rules of engagement, you see.
Yeah.
And so that those rules of engagement sets up two things: success and failure. When people that I know go into museums and do performance of scores, not scores, but of paintings, there's no rule for success or failure. They don't accept the notion of success or failure. They say, I played I played to this painting. But what they did actually, and they don't like this when I tell them this, but what they did is this: they played to the painting in a form of inspiration, not inspired, but inspiration. It's inspiration to play something that they inspired from that blue or yellow or red that's in the thing. Whereas my blue, yellow, red, you have to relate it to the light spectrum. You see, that's just one context. You say, oh, you have to relate it to industrial colors, or you have to relate it to medical colors, or you have to relate it to spiritual healing colors. All of them have different terminology about color. In medicine, when you do use color based off of medicine, every single pill is color coded, you see.
Yeah.
And industrial colors are the ones that we see relating to information, like Route 6, turn left.
Yeah.
See?
Oh yeah.
So that's where the stuff is. Yeah.
So let's talk about the other box set, which is with I think it's 5 CDs with
5 CDs and 4 drummers.
And 4 drummers. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So tell us a bit about this project and how it came. The Emerald Duets.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Those duets evolved around the idea that I'd already recorded many projects with drummers. In fact, I'm the leading candidate on the duet with drummers. I have more than anybody in the history of music. You say, but before this project, I already had that distinction. Right. Okay.
Right. Is that for, you mean for like releasing like duo albums with drums?
Yes,
or?
yes.
Right.
Yeah. Because performance, it counts, but the history only see it as a performance, not as a record.
Yeah.
You see, so I have I think I have before this come across about 10 different records with drummers.
Yeah.
You know, everybody from Ed Blackwell to DJ Nat, and going to Baby Summers, on down the line. Okay, but so I decided to do these duets, and the first one that I did was with Han Bennett. I went to what did we did? We did it in Holland. I went to Holland to do it with them in Amsterdam, and that was the very beginning. And I thought that I may do a larger project of other drummers, but that hadn't come into play yet. I was still formalizing the idea of who I would record with next. I had not planned it out. Okay.
Yeah.
So therefore, that duet would have just fit with the other duets I had done.
Yeah.
But shortly after that, I started thinking about a much larger scope of drumming and a specific project of drumming. And therefore, I decided that, okay, I'm going to do 3 other drummers. I'm going to do Andrew Sorrell, Firon Agalaf, and D. Jeanette. So they all was done in that collection. Hans, Sorrell, Firon, and D. Jeanette. Okay. And when I got to D. Jeanette, when I got to Firon, Andrew, and D. Jeanette, the picture had been formalized. I had the whole concept in my mind, you see. And so with each of them, if you notice, there's the Patriot Act piece. Each drummer plays that except Hans.
Right.
Because the project evolved after Hans, you see.
Right, yeah.
And the reason for that, if I ever record again with Hans, I would do that same piece with him.
Right.
Because it's a grand experiment about what can I do as a creative artist using the same piece that I played with somebody else before, and how would I approach it freshly playing with 2 other people. And you can see that with Andrew and Firon, there's basically close to the same duration. Okay?
Yeah.
But with D. Jeanette, the duration expands double fold. It's a much longer expansion. And D. Jeanette was last, you see. So if one would like to understand how my creativity works, those 3 pieces with those 3 different drummers is a perfect example to inquire about it.
Oh, that's fascinating. It's great that they're releasing it, they're in like chronological order.
Yes,
so you can see, like you said, you see the creative process evolving across all of the albums. So did you always want to release all 5 of the CDs together at once?
At the same time, yeah. See, D. Jeanette and I, with everybody else, it was only 1 CD. Okay, but D. Jeanette and I did 2 CDs. You see, 2 CDs. In fact, the Patriot piece is half of one of the CDs.
Fantastic.
Yeah. So yeah, I wanted to release them all as one package.
Yeah. It speaks to your incredible output over the years that today you've released like 17 volumes of music on, I think it was on 19 CDs.
Yeah.
That may be another record that you can claim. I can't think of another example.
Well, I can't either, but the beautiful thing about it is that getting all this music to come out in large batches is not only quite remarkable, but it's something that we as artists don't normally have the opportunity to do.
Mm-hmm.
And for that, I'm grateful to Toom and all those people that work on this music there to make it come out with such a beautiful package and stuff like that. Yeah.
So did you suggest to Toom to do all of them at once?
Yes.
And they were quite happy.
My publisher.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
And they're quite happy to go with it. Well, obviously.
Because like my 80th birthday, you don't really have 2 80th birthdays in your lifetime, and then secondly, an 80th birthday is a major milestone. So why not do everything possible to celebrate that in the grandest way?
Yeah. And
that's what was achieved. You see, the whole idea was evolved with me and my publicist and Baseway. She and I talk and consider how to do stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was one of the key things. And Patrick, who also understood and didn't have a problem whatsoever with it.
Wow. Yeah, it's an incredible achievement. Well, congratulations. First of all, like you say, 80 years is a wonderful achievement and a real blessing to be able to live such a rich number of years, you know. I think it's a nice way to think of age as a gift. It's a
gift. Yes.
Yeah. And obviously you have wonderful grandchildren and children and the output. Do you know off the top of your head how many albums you've released?
I don't know, but it should be over 100 or around 100.
Yeah.
Plus or something, you know.
Yeah.
But no, I'm counting the ones that haven't been released.
Fantastic. Yes, you've got more coming up. There's more string quartets.
I have probably 20 projects that's not out. Okay?
Yeah.
And I just recorded one in New York just this week. And then next week I'm going to record another one.
Oh, fantastic.
So since this year alone, I've did a collaborative duet project with DJ Nat. I've did 2 pianos and VJ Allen and Amina Claudine Miles and Andrew Sorrell. I did that. That's just all just this year. I did I did the one this week that just passed.
Yeah.
And one next week. So that's already 4 projects or 5 projects.
Yeah. That's incredible.
Since April, February, April.
Wow. We had Satoko Fuji on last week, a Japanese pianist, and she's on her 100th album as well. So between the two of you, that's quite a remarkable creative output. Wadada, thank you so much for coming on the Jazz Podcast. It's been amazing to sit and talk to you about your creative process, about this music. Congratulations on the release and on your birthday. I'm going to play for our listeners a little bit of the duet with Jack DeJohnette, which I realize I'm cheating the chronological order of your...
No, it doesn't matter. You can start.
It's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, fantastic.
Because it's the sound of drum and trumpet or membranium foam and wind. You see?
Yeah. Brilliant.
Well,
all right.
Rob, thank you so much. Please have a beautiful day. And I'd like to say to my fans, thank you so much for sharing this moment with us. And look to see if you can find music every day in your life.
Fantastic. Thank you so much.
All right. Peace.
Peace.